Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Seth Rollins and his unstoppable run in 2015. So let's take things back to Royal Rumble of 2015. At this time, he was Mr. Money in the Bank and he had a WWE World Heavyweight Championship, because that is what it was called at the time. It was basically the WWE Championship, but they were unified, merged, and just became the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So we had a massive triple threat match against John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Seth started the match by getting J&J Security involved, and these guys were basically Seth's goons. It was Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury, and they basically sum up 2015 Seth Rollins very well because they were always doing his dirty work. This match ended with Brock hitting Seth with an F5 and Rollins actually took the pin. So in the first month of 2015, Seth was definitely not unstoppable and had a pretty rocky start to the year. Then we moved to Fastlane, where Seth was in a 6-man tag match with Kane and Big Show, and they were against Ryback, Dolph Ziggler, and Eric Rowan. And this is because at the time the Authority storyline was going on, and Seth, Big Show, and Kane were all a part of the Authority. Dolph, Rowan, plenty others, Ryback as well, were all against the Authority. Kane was the one to get the win for the team, but I mean, a win is a win. A win is a win. Seth had a curb stomp on Ziggler after the match just to rub salt in the wound. And then Randy Orton returned and scared Seth out of the arena. So again, at this current moment in time, Seth isn't exactly unstoppable. But just you wait. WrestleMania 31. The rivalry between Orton and Rollins heated up and they had a one-on-one match at the grandest stage of them all. Randy Orton would get the win in this match by hitting that infamous RKO, countering the curb stomp. So once again, Rollins has taken another loss. And if you really don't know how things went in 2015 for Seth Rollins, then you're probably thinking, why has this guy titled this video, Seth Rollins was unstoppable, when he keeps losing? But wait until he starts winning, and then you'll see how unstoppable he was. And things are literally about to take a complete turn for Seth Rollins, because on the same night, in the main event of WrestleMania, it was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and Seth Rollins decided to cash in and make this match a triple threat. This shocked the entire WWE universe. Everyone was losing their minds and it was just awesome. And you're probably thinking, you know, WWE is kind of predictable a lot of the time, so surely people expected Rollins to cash in. Surely there was rumours going around, but you've got to know, at this time, it really looked like they were going to push Roman Reigns to be the next big face of the company. So everyone kind of expected Roman to take that title at WrestleMania. But for Seth to cash in, it just threw this massive spanner in the works. So Seth Rollins cashes in and he does it. He pulls off the heist of the century and becomes the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion in what was one of the best cash-ins of all time. And this, my friends, is where the unstoppable reign of Seth Rollins begins. Now we're into the good part of 2015. Extreme Rules 2015. This was Seth's first defence, which was against his rival Randy Orton in a steel cage match. The match took place inside a steel cage so that J&J Security would not get involved. This ends up backfiring as J&J and Kane all enter the ring by walking through the door. This match ended by Kane chokeslamming Randy Orton and then also chokeslamming Seth Rollins. So it actually looked like Kane was going to turn on Seth and the Authority, but then he drags Seth to cover Randy for the pin, but then Randy kicks out. So Kane bums him. No, that wasn't right. So Kane tries to tombstone him, gets hit with an RKO instead, then Seth hits Randy with an RKO, and he escapes the cage, retaining the championship. He won by hitting Randy Orton's finisher move on Randy Orton, and then escaping. But it all stemmed from Kane. So then we moved to Payback, which was the next pay-per-view, and this was a big test for Seth Rollins because he had to defend his title in a fatal 4-way match. Seth was up against Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Randy Orton, 3 of the toughest wrestlers about at that time. Seth Rollins won the match and retained his title yet again by hitting a pedigree on Randy Orton. And this was the first time that he used the pedigree, which was in fact granted to him by his boss and mentor Triple H. Up next we had Elimination Chamber, which is very strange because Elimination Chamber is usually one of the pay-per-views leading up to WrestleMania, but this time around, it was after WrestleMania. But Seth did not defend his title inside Elimination Chamber. Instead, he had a one-on-one match against Dean Ambrose. And this is where things get tricky. Seth Rollins technically loses the championship to Dean Ambrose. He gets pinned. However, the result was changed to Dean Ambrose winning by disqualification. Therefore, Seth is still the champion. And this was because Seth pushed the ref into a flying knee by Dean Ambrose. Therefore, the ref sees it as Seth pushed me, so he's getting disqualified, which means he still retains because the title does not change hands by disqualification. And it was funny because Dean Ambrose just said F this and he took the title anyway. He literally just took the title. He said, I can't be dealing with this authority bullshit anymore, and he took the title home with him. Then we moved to Money in the Bank, and this was intense. It was Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose in a ladder match for the championship. Rollins does manage to get the win, and it was pretty fair. However, they were both grabbing the title when it released, but Rollins was holding it when he landed, so he won. But it was a controversial win. At this stage in 2015, it just seemed like Seth kept getting lucky, right? It's just like, no matter what anyone tries to do, Seth will always find a way just about hold on to his title. But Seth's next challenge was no joke. This was taking things to the next level when he faced Brock Lesnar at Battleground. Lesnar came close to winning this one, but Undertaker just spawned in out of nowhere, and then Seth disappeared. And it was like the match just got cancelled. So Seth vanished. He got lucky once again. Then we have the biggest party of the summer because the next pay-per-view was SummerSlam 2015, and it was a massive match between Seth Rollins and John Cena. But they were both champions at the time. Seth obviously being the World Heavyweight Champion. John Cena was the United States Champion. So what happened? They had a title for title match, title unification, and this was absolutely monumental for Seth Rollins because he actually was the one to get the win, and he won both titles, and this just elevated him to the next level. Like, this is just ridiculous. Seth Rollins, it's crazy to look back on because Seth Rollins in this year, 2015, really was just a megastar. I guess he always has been one of the most popular wrestlers, but this version of him was just on another level. Not quite Roman Reigns level of, our current time, but he was up there, But even though he is doing so well, this match did end in a very lucky way for Seth once again, because some bloke by the name of Jon Stewart comes out, cracks Cena in the stomach with a chair, puts the chair down for Seth Rollins to capitalise on because he grabs John Cena, gets his head under his balls, and hits a pedigree on the chair. The referee was taken out of the match, so the referee did not see this. And when the ref finally counted that 1, 2, 3, it was all over for John Cena, and Seth Rollins just went to the next level. Night of Champions 2015 was the next pay-per-view, and the next defense is of Seth Rollins because this was an insane night for Seth. He had 2 matches in one night. His first match was against John Cena for the United States Championship, and his second match was in the main event of Night of Champions, and it was against Sting for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. That is just wow. I have never really seen a wrestler have 2 matches in one night, 2 title matches as well. But since he was champion of 2 titles, he had to defend them both separately because they're not actually... It's not like Roman Reigns where he has Universal and the WWE merged together. It's different because it's a mid-card title and a world title, so they're on their separate things, So this is where a crack does form in the career of Seth Rollins because he does actually lose his title to John Cena. The United States Championship only lasted 28 days around the waist of Seth Rollins, which, okay, I guess that means he's not really unstoppable, but hear me out, things do get better and they stay, because he's still the world champion, so they stay good for him because later on in the night, he injures Sting, which is not ideal, but he does beat Sting and he holds on to the more important title, so at least he still has his world championship. Like, okay, it's nice to have 2 titles, but the United States Championship, it's a mid-card title. It's not that big of a deal that he lost, okay? It's John Cena as well, one of the all-time greats. So yes, John Cena did stop Seth Rollins. So he's not actually unstoppable, but his reign still was unstoppable for the world title, because just stay tuned and you'll hear why. Seth Rollins ended the match by doing a cheeky roll-up on Sting, and the match was definitely cut short because Sting was injured, but either way, Seth was always retaining the title, so it doesn't really matter. He beat the Icon. Doesn't get much better than that. Then we go to Hell in a Cell 2015, one of the more exciting pay-per-views. But again, with a pay-per-view as big as Hell in a Cell, you would expect Seth to defend the title inside Hell in a Cell, just like Elimination Chamber, but that did not happen. Instead, he had a one-on-one match against the masked version of Kane. Demon Kane. Yeah. And guess what? Seth Rollins beat Demon Kane fair and square with a pedigree. No interferences, nothing. He beat Demon Kane. That's insane. But now we get to the moment you've all been waiting for. How did Seth Rollins lose his title? Who was the one to stop the unstoppable reign as World Heavyweight Champion from Seth Rollins in 2015? Well, it was Seth Rollins. Seth actually suffered a knee injury at a live event in Dublin. Of course it was Ireland as well. Like, this whole place is just cursed, you know? So of course this injury was serious, which does mean that Seth Rollins had to relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship, which is such a shame because he was actually so good. This version of Seth Rollins was goated, and it would have been very, very interesting to see who would have beat Seth Rollins and how long his reign would have lasted if he didn't get injured. So let me hit you with some statistics. He held the World Heavyweight Championship from March to November of 2015, which means for the majority of the year, he was the world champion, which is why I'm saying that he just was the guy of that year. And this reign lasted 221 days to be specific. And then the United States title reign lasted only a month, well, 28 days exactly, which, you know, isn't ideal, but that was just a nice wee bonus to add to the resume of 2015 Seth Rollins, you know? So there we go, my friends. That is the story of Seth Rollins in 2015. In my opinion, that is the best version of Seth Rollins. We've had a lot of versions of him over the years, and I like where he's at now with his whole gimmick, but like, at the same time, the heel authority gimmick was just, and then the block of cheese, you know, the blonde hair going into the black hair was just perfect. But either way, that is going to be it for now. So hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Drop a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new. Thank you all for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.